talking to you today, and it's going to be the biggest secret to our success, but I'm going to tell you later. Okay, so that was the cliffhanger. All right, so since last GC4, we started January. You know, you saw the teleprompter there, or the show. In 2019, we went on the 10X World Tour. We did 19 countries. Starting in, that was that year, then January starts. We do 7 cities leading up to GrowthCon. It was just, you know, it's a lot. Traveling, touring, GrowthCon. It's been a lot. That's how we started the year. Then we have GrowthCon. Then, the day after GrowthCon, Grant is getting, well, first of all, he's shaving his head to go shoot Undercover Billionaire, and now I have kids who are freaked out that their father's got a bald head and that he's leaving them to go shoot Undercover Billionaire. They don't want him to go, but what you don't know about Undercover Billionaire, and I do get accused of being a slave driver, but Grant did not want to do Undercover Billionaire. And I was like, you're doing Undercover Billionaire. I'm like, Grant, this is an opportunity. You know, this is national television, and I don't want to play by those rules, and da. And I'm like, Grant, but you can help people. Like this is an opportunity for the people who aren't on social media to be able to have your products. You can make a difference. You have to do this. I'm being his biggest cheerleader, his biggest supporter. I'm like, you got to go do this. And he's like, you know, what if I got this businesses and I got this going on, that going on. I'm like, yeah, go. So he agrees to go and do the show. And then he gets over there, and it's cold, and he hates the cold. It's in Colorado. And he finds, some Colorado people out there I see. So he finds this RV. I don't know if you've seen the show, but he finds this guy to loan him an RV. But the RV is like a demo, I don't know if a demo, but it's like on the showroom floor. It's like for sale. It's not working. There's no running water. You can't flush the toilets. The blanket is just the thin kind of blanket that they use to show it, to try to sell it. And so he's calling me from this RV, and he's freezing cold at night. And he's also telling me, which didn't make it into the show, another behind the scenes, this may be TMI, too much information, but so he's really upset because here's this guy. We've done 19 countries. We've done 7 cities. We've done GrowthCon with the biggest celebrities in the world. Grant is like, this is my Grant Cardone impression. He's all swagged out, and now he's in an RV and he's peeing inside of cans at night because there's no place to go to the bathroom. And he's calling me every night. He told you, and that's true. He's calling me every night. And sometimes he's in tears because he misses the kids so much. And why am I doing this? And this is ridiculous. And I'm 10X. And what if I can't do this? And what if this will hurt our brand? And this is so hard. And blah, blah, blah. And I don't like lying to people. I have to be Lewis Curtis. And I pride myself on being transparent, and I'm lying, and here I am every single night. Like, I'm trying to take care of the world. I'm trying to take care of the kids. I'm trying to be his cheerleader. And I'm like, Grant, you got this. You're going to change the world. And he's hanging up on me. Every single night, he's hanging up on me night after night. And I'm like, oh! I'm like, not only do I have my world and my problems, which I can't tell him because I'm trying to save him, all of a sudden, after about the 6th or the 7th hang up, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm doubting myself, like, what did I do? This is a horrible mistake. What have I done? I went too far this time. Anyway, I finally wised up, and I wrote a list. I was like, I'm going to be prepared for the next time he calls me. I wrote down a list of all the names, even prior to me, of all the people who said, he couldn't make it. He would never achieve anything. Oh, all the people that want to see us fail, that want to see us go broke. all the people that want him to lose, all the people that we trusted inside the empire that turned around and stabbed us in the back. I wrote names, da-da-da-da-da, first, last name, first, last name. It was a fucking long list, too. I'm sorry, I don't mean to curse. So the next time he called and he ranted and raved and, how could you do this? And you know, and he gets it all out. And I just took a deep breath. And I just said, first name, last name, first name, last name, first name, last name. And by the time I got to I don't know, it didn't take many, 3 or 4. I had 20 or more. He says, okay, I know what I need to do. Thank you. And he hung up on me again. And he did it. I can't tell you what he did, but he did it. So he's over there. And then we run into another catastrophe, which we all ran into, which was COVID. And so then he had to come back home. And now we come back home and we're faced with COVID and the challenges of being business owners and having staff. And we had a meeting. I know I can make Grant not mad at me. I'm not sure I can make Jared and Sherry not mad at me. But I'm probably going to be telling y'all too much right now, but should I do it anyway? So then we have this executive meeting around the table, our dinner table actually, in our unit. And so we're talking about the viability of the organization and what needs to do and what needs to happen. And COVID exposed some weaknesses within the organization, you know? And we had just put a new department in that we couldn't support right now. We weren't willing to make that choice, you know? Empires are created or destroyed. And sometimes you have to be willing to cut out a piece in order to protect the longevity of the entire unit. And so there was decisions made. It was not popular, but we decided that we had to let an entire team, department go, and several other people that had to be fired. And Sherry and Jared were like, we were all gutted, but Sherry and Jared were fighting for everyone, saying, we don't need to do this, Grant. We don't need to do this, Grant. Let's hold out. And Grant's like, I'm not going to bleed out. We've got to cut this now. We can always rebuild and da-da-da. So they leave. Grant's like nauseous. I'm nauseous. And I just told Grant, I said, you know, Grant, you've never let me down. You've never let an investor down. You've never let anybody down. You always deliver in abundance. I know it's not easy, but the reason you're the leader and the reason you've built this empire is because you have courage. And the definition of courage is strength in the face of pain and grief. And you can make decisions, and I trust that you are making the right decision. Even if we find out later it was the wrong decision, it's better to have confidence and certainty now going forward. So I stand behind you. I believe you are making the right decision. And so we had to let a bunch of people go. And we, again, you know, the haters, they can't wait. The piranhas, you know, they can't wait till you're weak, you know, and they pounce on you. And they're like, oh, these rich people firing these people at this time. And, you know, you have to just tune it out. And, you know, I just want to say to the staff that did stay, they took a pay cut for several months. And they didn't quit on their jobs. They were so 10X. I love those people so much. Aren't they amazing when they greet you and when they're here? And so we made those choices. We dealt with all the haters. We dealt with, you know, all of that. Grant was able to pivot and change and adjust. We figured out when I always say we, I like to take credit for things if you haven't noticed. But he was able to handle the real estate. We had to secure the properties. We held weekly calls with our investors. Are there any Cardone Capital investors out here? Were you on some of those calls? So the investors knew we had to hold some dividends from being released. They all agreed that was the right thing to do till we could figure out. Well, it turned out no one didn't pay their rent. What ended up happening is some people even paid their rent for a year in advance because they didn't want to be homeless. They liked where they lived. And we were able to resume the dividends. Are y'all all getting monthly checks? Yes. Did we ever miss a beat? Never. Did we go bankrupt? Close your eyes. So that happens. Grant goes back to Undercover Billionaire. We were able to make decisions that led to the creation of a bigger, badder, more successful empire, avoided making mistakes. We adjusted. We were able to flourish and prosper in spite of COVID, in spite of the elections, in spite of civil unrest, in spite of the job losses. And we were able to help a lot of people stay afloat, and not only stay afloat, to thrive in the process. That's our stat during COVID. You've heard the testimonials. You know I'm telling you the truth. Oh my God, I should have told them I needed Kleenex. Don't they know me by now? Jesus, everybody knows I do this. Anyway, to bring us up to full date last week, and this is, I'm not even gonna say this is a humble brag because this is a straight up brag. So last 6 days ago, we were able to take possession of a brand new Augusta 139 helicopter, which some of you went up in already. Did you go up? Who went up in the helicopter already? Oh my, so you've been on it and I haven't been on it. So we actually, they surprised me that night. We don't have one helicopter, we have 2 helicopters. Is that the best way to see real estate? Yeah. And you know, the haters are gonna see a plane and 2 helicopters and hate. But you know, I see things differently. Woman behind the man. I see when I see that, I see enough right decisions. I see courage, I see ethics, I see integrity, I see never giving up, fighting for what you want, believing in fighting for what's right. I see an American dream. I see an audacity and the insanity to even think that you could go for greatness and yet it can be had. That's what I see. I see avoiding enough of the wrong mistakes to make it go right. I see sacrifice. I see a representation of success. That's what I see when I see a plane and 2 helicopters. Massive action.